You've probably heard the term SOC before, right? A security operations center. It's basically the digital command center for a company. And believe me, it never sleeps. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and really dig into the anatomy of one of these teams. I mean, we hear about cyber attacks on the news all the time. But have you ever wondered, what does a cybersecurity team actually do all day? What's really happening behind the scenes? Well, that's exactly the question we're going to answer. So, at its absolute core, you can think of a SOC as the defense team for a company's digital lifeblood. It doesn't matter if we're talking about a huge manufacturing firm or a global retailer, the SOC team is on watch, guarding every single digital asset, ready to jump on any threat. All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start with a quick welcome to the SOC. Then we'll meet the actual cyber defenders. After that, we'll get a sense of the sheer size of the digital fortress they're guarding. Then it's into the action with the daily threat hunt, and we'll wrap up by looking at how they're always racing against the clock. Okay, first section, welcome to the SOC. And I love this subtitle, The Company's Immune System. It's a perfect analogy, right? It's this thing that's always on, always monitoring, trying to spot and neutralize threats before they can do any real harm. So if we're going to get a little more formal about it, a security operations center is this centralized unit where everything comes together. It's the perfect mix of people, processes, and technology. And they all have to work in sync to protect the company. But here's the kicker. It's 24/7. The bad guys don't sleep, so this shield, it can't ever go down. Technology is absolutely crucial, no doubt. But really, the heart and soul of any good SOC, it's the people. So let's meet these cyber defenders, the folks on the actual front lines. And get this, the team we're dissecting today, it's a super lean, super focused crew of just 10 people. Yep, only 10. That's a pretty small group for what you're about to see is a massive, massive mission. Now, this isn't just 10 people all doing the same thing. It's a really smart, tiered system. So you've got your level 1 analysts. There are 4 of them. They're the first line of defense, kind of like the triage nurses. They sift through all the incoming noise. But then you have a bigger group of 6 senior level 2 analysts. They're the specialists, ready to take on the really complex, escalated threats that the L1s find. Hackers don't clock out at 5 p.m., right? So neither can the SOC. They have to run this absolutely relentless shift schedule to make sure there is always someone watching. You've got your morning, afternoon, and night shifts all through the week, and then there's on-call support for the weekends. The goal is super simple. 0 gaps in the armor. Ever. Okay, so we've met the team of 10. Now, let's talk about what they're up against. It's time to understand the incredible scale of the digital fortress this tiny team is responsible for guarding. It's a lot. First off, let's just start with the employee devices. We're talking 7,000 endpoints. Think about that. 7,000 laptops and desktops. Every single one is a potential open door for an attacker. And this team, they have to keep an eye on all of them. Okay, but it doesn't stop there. Now let's add the core infrastructure. We're talking about roughly 300 servers. And these aren't just boxes in a rack. These are the crown jewels. They hold the company's most critical data, the most important applications. A breach here isn't just a headache. It's potentially game over. And just when you think that's enough, the complexity just keeps piling on. On top of all those devices and servers, this team is also managing 80 different firewalls. 80! Think of them like security guards at 80 different gates into the network. And the SOC has to make sure every single one of those gates is locked down tight. So you've got this vast digital kingdom and a team of just 10 defenders. What does an average Tuesday look like? Well, that brings us to the daily threat hunt. Okay, get ready for this number. Every single month, the team gets hit with around 500 security alerts. Let's break that down. That's about 15 or 16 potential fires they have to check out every single day. And yeah, they have to investigate every last one. Now here's the thing. Not every alert is a real fire. It's like a smoke alarm that goes off every time you make toast. It leads to this huge problem called alert fatigue. A massive part of their job is just sorting through the noise, the false positives, to find the true positives. Those are the real threats, the ones that need immediate attention. It really is a constant hunt for that one needle in a giant haystack of alerts. So what kind of needles are they actually looking for? Well, here are the big ones. You've got your classic phishing emails trying to fool employees, and of course, malware infections. But they also deal with some pretty sophisticated stuff, like command and control traffic. That's a scary one. It's basically when an attacker has already gotten inside and is trying to control a computer remotely, like a puppet. Okay, so the moment they find one of those true positives, a real threat, a stopwatch starts. The race is on. This team doesn't have all day. They operate under incredibly strict rules of engagement. And that race is dictated by something called an SLA, a service level agreement. You can just think of it as a contract or a promise. It's a formal agreement that says for this level of threat, you have this much time to fix it. No excuses. And this right here, this is where the pressure gets real. Just look at the time for a high-severity incident. We're talking the worst of the worst, a 5-alarm fire. They have 4 to 5 hours, and that's not just to look at the problem. That's to have it completely resolved, done, finished. That is an insanely tight window to work with. So why the crazy urgency? Well, these deadlines aren't just pulled out of thin air. In the world of cybersecurity, speed is everything. A fast response can literally be the difference between a minor hiccup that nobody ever hears about and a massive data breach that ends up on the evening news. All right, so let's pull all this together. What have we learned? A SOC is this small, super-structured team of digital defenders. They're on guard 24/7, protecting a massive digital environment. Their daily job is to hunt for the real threats buried in hundreds of alerts, and they do it all under intense time pressure to keep the whole company safe. And that brings us to one last big question to think about. We know that threats are getting more automated, more sophisticated, even using AI. So how does the human element, this team of 10, stay one step ahead? How does their intuition and their teamwork compete with the ever-evolving machines they're fighting against?